Hello, guys. Come on in. Come on in. Today, we're going to be talking about the Sebastian Rogers and the Summer Wells case. Those two cases are going to now be linked. We have AtNight putting up billboards with both Summer and Sebastian's faces on the billboards. I think this is great. Maybe this will lead to finding out what happened to Summer Wells. So, we're going to be talking about, we're going to be also doing an open panel. So you can come on up and talk to me. Let me drop a link into the chat and you can come up and share your thoughts on this. So I'm dropping the link if you want to come up and join me. You may just want to turn your camera off to do that. We're also going to be going through some of your comments. So we're going to be talking about some of the similarities and the differences between Summer Wells and Sebastian Rogers. And I submit to you that it's possible that someone was sitting around watching Summer Wells' video and watching that case unfold on YouTube. And maybe did they get themselves some ideas? I don't know. My name is Jessica Della Davies. I'm an investigative journalist, and my job is to investigate crimes, crime scenes, and potential suspects and share with you how to do the same thing. If you have not subscribed to Reporter Room, please do. It's free. And it helps me out a lot. Please consider subscribing, like, share, leave a comment, and know that everything I'm sharing with you is my opinion. Yes, I see all the lawsuits flying around. I mean, absolutely, I've never seen anything like this in my life. I want to thank all of our subscribers, our mods, and our channel members. Our channel members are the ones with the verified check marks next to their name, and our subscribers are the ones with the check mark. Sorry, and the channel members and the sorry, let me start again. The channel members are the ones with the check marks. The mods are the ones with the wrenches, and subscribers come on into the top chat. I just dropped a link if you want to grab it and come on up and talk to me. We're going to do an open panel. I want to hear if you guys have a message of what you think are what you think are the top red flags in the Sebastian Rogers case. I want to hear what you think of the top red flags. So I dropped the link. I'm going to drop it one more time. There is the link. You just tap it and you can turn off your camera and you can come up and talk to me about what you think are the biggest red flags in this case. Happy Easter to everybody. Tell me what you're going to do for Easter this year. Hi, Veronica. Here's our head mod, Njaz. This is the link I just dropped for you guys. If you want to come up and talk to me, here's our other head mod, Six Sense Amelia. Thank you for modding today, Pepper. Hi, Veronica. Brother Mike said, mods, please help in chat. Welcome others, watch for trolls, and remind everyone to press the thumbs up. Thank you so much, Mike. Thank you. And Brother Mike's our other head mod. So we have all three head mods here today, which is so nice. And then Pepper is modding today as well. Thank you for modding, especially coming into the Easter weekend. I'm so grateful that you guys are here with me today. So thank you so much for that. Hi, Patty Cakes. Hi, Annette. Hi, Kim. Yeah, please don't mention other. Yeah, that's good. Don't use curse words. Happy Easter. Happy Passover if you celebrate Passover. Happy Easter to you too, Christy. Patty just said she made 14 Easter baskets. Oh my gosh. Happy Easter. Can I kick it? And that says Easter egg hunt with my 14 grandchildren. Oh, how cute. Yeah, you can come on up and chat with me. I'm curious to see what you think are the red flags. Here's the link. And we're going to do, and I can help you switch off your camera. Hi, hi, Poco. Hi, Stephanie. Hi, I like your flower today, Veronica. Happy Easter, Teresa. Let's give thanks. Yes, please. I'm thankful for you guys. And our mod team, yes, we are mods are us. Hashtag mods are us. You guys are the best. Hi, DM. Thank you for modding today. Really appreciate you. Hi, Lisa. All right. So happy Easter. Number 40, thumbs up. Thank you so much. This is the link. I just dropped it in the chat. So if you want to come up and share with me, we're going to go through we're going to talk about Summer Wells today. and Sebastian Rogers. We're going to be talking about both of the cases. Patty Cake said, there's so many red flags, I wouldn't even know where to begin. Well, come on up and tell me what you're thinking. I'm very curious. You guys can turn your cameras off. You don't have to be on camera. So he has risen. Hallelujah. Yes, ma'am. Hi, Alicia. So can I kick it? So I think a major red flag is Katie Proudfoot lack of engagement with Sebastian at the Texas Roadhouse. See? And I don't think I have that one on my list. So that's really great. Precious Summer, Amelia said. Yeah, that's the Summer Wells that I have up on the screen. If you're like, why does she have Summer Wells up here? It's Sebastian Rogers. Yes, we're going to talk about both of them. Let me put Sebastian up too. There's our boy. Look at those beautiful dimples. Isn't he cute? My mic is on, my camera. Yeah, you'd have to turn off your camera. You'd have to turn off your camera. And I can help you do that. If you pop up and you don't know how to turn your camera off, I can help you with that. So there's just a little setting here that you click. It says stop camera. Stop cam is what it says, and you just click it and it'll show up as just a round bubble if you don't have an avatar up there. Brother Mike said his red flag is KP's entire story. Patty Cake said, my number one red flag right now is the way Chris is so defensive over the billboard signs. Yeah, that's weird, right? Because why would you not want billboards to be put up of Sebastian and Summer? I mean, you would. There's Summer. All right, so let's talk about some of the similarities, because I'm wondering if somebody was watching the Summer Wells case and maybe got some ideas. Number one of the similarities is both Sebastian and Summer Wells both disappeared in Tennessee. The TBI is involved. 2, both Sebastian and Summer disappeared according to their parents from inside their own homes. And this is just absolutely wild. 3, both Summer and Sebastian had CPS cases open in the months around their disappearance. For Sebastian, they had just recently closed a case, according to PI Heather, on Chris Proudfoot. But there had been multiple cases open, according to what Seth says, into this case. For Summer Wells, there was an active CPS case involved, and it is a felony in the state of Tennessee if the child is under the age of 9. And Summer was the only child in that household. The other boys were all older. They were over the age of 9. She was under the age of 9. She was the only one that would have qualified as a felony. Number 4, both Sebastian and Summer disappeared without a trace. We've never found any signs or scent dogs that picked up the scent of Summer. No cameras picked up Summer. Of course, they're in a more rural area. Sebastian, none of the cameras picked up Sebastian. No dogs picked up. We had one false dog alert. Number 5, the parents of both Sebastian and Summer refused to get on camera right away. The Wells didn't get on camera until weeks after Summer disappeared, and then Don Wells got on camera, and then Candace didn't get on camera until even after that. And then the Proudfoots didn't get on camera for 8 days after Sebastian disappeared. They had a camera crew on their lawn, and Chris Proudfoot kicked them off his lawn. So I cannot stress to you how unusual it is for parents not to want to get on camera to beg for the return of their children. It's so unusual that it's alarming, and it's a huge red flag. Number 6, both Summer and Sebastian had parents who sat on multiple YouTube channels for hours. I've never seen people have so much free time to not search for their missing children, in my opinion. I'm not saying anybody did anything to their kids, but I just don't understand why you would sit on YouTube panels for hours, but you're not searching for the child that's missing. No time for that, but they have all the time in the world to sit on YouTube channels and complain about the people who are searching for Summer and Sebastian. 7, both Summer and Sebastian have the TBI involved in their case. And I hope that these billboards that are going up can shake things up and reinvigorate the Summer Wells case and reinvigorate the Sebastian Rogers case, because I've had concerns that both of these cases are Summer's case, I believe, is going cold. It's still open and active, but we haven't heard anything, for years. And Sebastian's was headed that way. So I hope that this huge reward of the $50,000 from the FBI and that the billboards that are including Summer, who is very recognizable to maybe people who didn't know Sebastian, and maybe Sebastian is very recognizable to people who don't know what happened to Summer. Maybe we can get answers for both of these precious children. I mean, it's Easter time, you guys, and there are 2 children that are not waking up in their own homes to see if the Easter Bunny left anything for them in the morning. Summer and Sebastian are not in their own homes to wake up to see if the Easter Bunny paid them a visit and left them a basket of goodies. They are missing and they need to be found. We're going to go through the top red flags. My top, I had originally 5. I actually went up to 7, and I want to hear what your red flags are also. Thank you, Enja, so much for gifting a reporter room membership. And she gifted 5 reporter room memberships earlier today. So if you guys got one of those, that's wonderful. And welcome ASP Lizzie, becoming a brand new reporter room channel member. So happy to have you as part of the reporter room family. So if you got that gifted membership from Enjas, please let me know who it is. Oh, can I kick it? Was it you? I think it was, because I didn't see you with a badge when we were doing this before. That's great. Yep, congratulations. So, Enjas, thank you so much for gifting that to Can I Kick It? You are now a reporter room member. Amelia says, we are on Sebastian's side. Yeah, I know there's teams. I know there's people broken up into teams. I'm not on the teams. I'm not I'm not doing the teams. I don't want to, I'm interested in finding these, what happened. I want to know the truth. And I don't think I can do that if I have to run my stories by certain people before I air them, or find out what they want me to cover. I don't, I think it's fine that some people want to do that. For me, I just don't feel like I would be, it just doesn't fall in line with what I'm doing here on Reporter Room to do something like that. So I'm not on anybody's team except for Sebastian and Summer. And this has caused some of us to get removed from some of the chat rooms because we're not clearly on this team or that team. So both teams think we're, and I have no problem with anybody. I just want to find out what happened to Sebastian and Summer. And the last people to see them, Summer Wells, was Candace and Grandis. And the last person to see Sebastian was Katie Proudfoot. So that's who I've had my eye on. Thank you for the cute emojis and jazz. Patty Cake says, I know the last thing I would do is leave town if my child was missing. Brother Mike wants to know what the heck TBI. Well, TBI has, I understand your frustration. I do think it is frustrating, so I get it. So I don't want to minimize that. I'm dropping this link. If you want to come up and talk to me, you can. You can turn your camera off. I will help you turn your camera off if you need help. If you want to come up and talk to me, you will have to have your mic on though. But I want to know what your red flags are in this case. And I want to let me go over to YouTube. I think I saved a link for this. We're going to go through the red flags together, but I want to go through subscriber comments. Let me grab those. Okay, so these are public subscribers. Let me take Summer down. This is in the Sebastian's case. Oh, somebody's coming up to talk to me. All right, and Jazz.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, come on up. Let me see. How do I get you up onto the camera? Let me move myself. Let me turn off my camera.
I'm off camera.
I'm trying to add you to the stage. I'm adding you, but I'm not seeing it. I can hear you. Can you guys hear Enjaz? I'm not able to add you. I don't know why. I'm going to reload and come back in.
Okay.
All right, I'm adding myself. Enjaz is there. So now I see NJAZ, but I don't see myself on camera.
Oh, dear.
NJAZ, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes. Can you hear me?
Able to add myself. Let me try. I know what it is. I know what it is. Hold on. There. Okay, let me try that. Okay, I just needed to make it so. Okay, so this is NJAZ. This is our head monitor. So do you have some red flags on this, NJAZ?
Yes, I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, I do. And they're really the same as everyone else.
Well, I do want to hear what they are, if you don't mind sharing them.
Sure. The light videos, I think, are alarming, in my opinion.
The light videos, I think that I agree. I think that's, don't you guys think that's like the best piece of evidence that we have in this is the light videos?
I do.
There, I think that's better. Okay, so does anybody else want to come up? I'm going to drop the link in again if you want to come up and talk to. So I think the light videos are huge. I'm getting yes. Veronica says yes. DM says yes. Kim says yes. Brother Mike says, "Oh, I love the British voice." Yeah, if you didn't know, she's from the UK. So when that's why we're wishing her happy Easter now. Is it Easter where you are now? Is it after midnight and jazz?
It is. It's 5 minutes to 1 in the morning.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for modding today. So what do you think about the fact that he walked out the door without, according to Katie, without shoes, without a cell phone, without a jacket? Sorry, I didn't catch that.
In my opinion, he didn't walk out the door, not on his own.
I feel the same way. I just don't think he went out the door on his under his own steam. I think he was either escorted out or walked out. But I don't think he would have gone out without shoes, a coat in the winter. And this kid, even in the video that, Katie provided pictures to the news outlet when she gave the interview at his 1-year anniversary. And even that shows him in the pool on a floaty with shoes on. That's crazy, right?
Yes. And I also find the video of the Texas Roadhouse, I find that very upsetting.
Yeah, it seems like she was much more interested in her phone than she was in Sebastian.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was really sad too. That bothered me a lot too, that there was just no interaction. And it did kind of go along with what we know about Katie, which is that she's, said Sebastian said, "I love you, mommy," and mom, and mama, "I love you," and I love the puppies too. Oh, I think somebody else is trying to come up. Let me see.
I'm not sure.
Brother Mike is in. Hi, Mike.
Hi.
Oh, Mike. Hello.
Hello.
All right. This is great. If anybody else would come up, I'm going to drop the link. I think I can take like 8 or 9 people up. So drop in the link again. So Mike, what are the biggest red flags to you?
The entire story that Katie's trying to push. It keeps changing. No emotion. It's just not sellable.
Yeah, I agree.
It just seems so fakey. I mean,
yeah, the story is the idea that the dogs were put away that night, when we've been told that they always sleep with Katie and Chris, and that night they were put up.
And the dogs don't alert.
Yeah, and the dog, we've heard the dogs alerting when the press was in the house and doing one of the interviews.
Yes.
And we heard the dogs barking. and them shushing the dog. So I think the dogs would have alerted if Sebastian had come out of his room or gone out the door. Don't you think?
Yes, and walking out the door with no shoes, that don't make any sense.
No.
And I'm still not convinced he ever left the Texas Roadhouse. I mean, he went to the parking lot, he got in the car, but no sign he ever got to that house. So.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, we saw him get in the car. We saw the handicap sticker, which just really made me sad because it just reminded me that, he has the chromosomal deletion syndrome, which is, water on the brain is part of that. And then, but that he needed the handicap sticker, but she let him use a belt on him. Chris Proudfoot used a belt on him.
Yeah, and a diaper. Yeah, so
it's just really heartbreaking. What did you guys
like a dog, by the Proudfoots, especially Chris?
Yeah. What did you think about the fact that they didn't go on camera, and even in that weird video where we just have a shot of them massaging the hands?
Yeah, that was kind of gross. Really.
It was. I know it kind of grossed me out too. I don't know why I had such an ick factor to that, but it was just something icky about it. Like you could just see it was those two,
And all the interviewers have to keep trying to pull answers out of them to help them ask, where's my son at? I can't find my son. Can you help me?
Yeah.
You have to remind them. You have anything to say to Sebastian? Oh, yeah. I mean.
Yeah, that's a great point. They never on their own reached out to Sebastian to say, oh, this is Sebastian, if you can hear me, I love you and we are looking for you. We're not going to stop. I mean, never appealed directly to him, which was kind of wild.
Yeah.
I thought that was different too.
And the only looking for him I've seen him do is at the motorcycle dealership.
Oh yeah, that was gross too.
They put on the t-shirt and go look for a Harley, and that's looking for Sebastian.
Yeah, that was weird. Like, why wouldn't you look for him? Why wouldn't you be searching for him? Why wouldn't you, or if you didn't want to do that, maybe you could just go and at least, I don't know, just go and at least thank the searchers.
Exactly. That's what everyone else in the world would do.
Yeah. It was all so weird.
Yeah.
It was just all so weird. I think, what did you think about, let me see. So, and then no dogs picked up the scent. We had one false, alarm. That's what we're being told.
Right. That don't make any sense because dogs are very reliable at searching, and they always turn up something. And to turn up nothing doesn't make any sense, especially barefoot.
Yeah, his bare feet should have been a big thing. Let me see if I can pull that up. Oh, it looks like NJAW's hopped down. Hold on, Mike. Let me grab this. I'm going to present.
I was going to let somebody else have a turn.
Okay.
Okay.
Does somebody else want to come up?
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you, Mike. Great to hear your voices. I've never heard you guys talk before. I've been interacting with you for so long, but I've never had the chance to see you speak. If you would like to come up and just say your piece, I will help you turn your camera off to make sure you're not on camera. You don't have to get on camera, but you can certainly come up. There's a link. I just dropped it. Let's see where we're at. So we're going through red flags. I want to know what your red flags are. If you rather just type them out to me, that's fine too. But I want to know what your red flags are. Amelia says, I have not heard Chris Proudfoot say that. I'm not sure what that's in response to. I missed that. I'm like behind on chat. Patty said that's because they're in cahoots. Rarely say Sebastian. Yeah, they don't say his name very much. I agree. They don't say his name very much. Well, let's watch Sebastian. And now his case is going to be linked with the Summer Wells case.
That's baffled people all over the mid-state and across the country.
Yeah, 1 year ago today, Sebastian Rogers vanished from his Hendersonville home without a trace. Hundreds of tips have poured in, but still no Sebastian.
Sebastian's mother and stepdad sat down with our Holly Thompson, who joins us now with how they're handling everything 1 year later. Tonight, in my one-on-one with Katie and Chris Proudfoot, you'll hear about the unwavering hope this family is clinging to and their message to you as they vow they will never give up in the search for their son.
Oh, yes, and I enhanced those photos of Chris's arms, Linda, and I agree. There's definitely, I think they look like, to me, they, look like scratches or bite marks. Yeah. All right. So this interview, this was their attempt to control the narrative, in my opinion. You can see Sebastian there with Santa Claus on your left. Katie and Chris are about to come up on camera, but I think what's really interesting is when we saw them a year ago, we have this, video of them massaging the hands, lots of rubbing and massaging the hands. And this interview, I think, is interesting because they barely speak to each other. They barely interact.
It's a living nightmare, to be honest with you.
The teen with autism disappeared from his mom and stepdad's Hendersonville home in the overnight hours of February 26th.
What would you say to him when he walked in that door?
Oh, God.
I don't even know if I'd be able to speak. I'd probably bulldoze him down with hugs. Honestly, when I picture that, I just picture being able to hug him, to hold him, to smell him. I mean, just to be able to hear his voice, to hear his laugh.
The teen with autism disappeared from his mom and stepdad's Hendersonville home in the overnight hours of February 26th.
We do believe there's a chance it is Sebastian. We're just trying to find out if that could be the case.
Steve Fisher, a private investigator hired by Katie and Chris Proudfoot, says this video that first aired on WSMV4 could be a new lead in the ongoing search for Sebastian.
So I'm curious what your take is on Steve Fisher. And this is nothing against Steve Fisher. I just want to make that clear. I welcome anybody who wants to come in and talk about, or help find Sebastian. I'm down for it. But I think Steve Fisher was brought in my opinion, allegedly. I think that he was brought in by the Proudfoots. I don't even know if he was getting paid. I'm curious if you guys think he actually got a paycheck or if he worked for free. But I think he was brought in to control the narrative for this 1 year anniversary. They knew the press was going to be covering this 1 year anniversary. And I think that it was an effort to control the narrative, in my opinion. Let me know if you have a different one. And I think that by putting out this video that he was on Lore Lodge talking about a month before this video. And then he made the comment on Twitter that he was, caught off guard, that I'm paraphrasing, but didn't seem like he didn't think this video was coming out when it did. And I'm just wondering if he thought that the press was seriously going to hold a video that was of a special needs missing child, that they would really hold that. But the fact that he's ginning this up without checking with law enforcement to see if they'd identified the person who was in the video was, concerning. And I'm not blaming Steve. I don't know what, if law enforcement was just refusing to talk to him or what was going on there. But I do think that this was an effort that I do think that the Proudfoots basically used him to control the narrative. They got him on Lore Lodge. They got him on the local press, all talking about this interview, this video footage, which law enforcement then had to come out and debunk. So anyway, let's continue on.
Video from the night Sebastian disappeared.
We went through over 100 hours of surveillance, and it wasn't until the third pass through the surveillance that we even spotted this person. And there's a person at 12:17 a.m. in the same neighborhood that Sebastian's from, that walks southbound in the neighborhood, goes behind a vehicle. It appears that they're trying to stay out of sight of another person that's walking their dog.
And law enforcement has said that this is somebody that they have identified who it is. It is not Sebastian, and that they knew who this was. They had collected all the doorbell cams within the first 3 days. So again, I'm just curious why, as a private investigator, you'd be talking about it a month before you released it to the press. Or maybe it was the Proudfoots who released it to the press. Maybe he was under a contract or NDA with them. I don't know what the terms of their agreement were. But as soon as the 1-year anniversary was over, I predicted that he would be cut loose by the Proudfoots, and sure enough, he was. I don't know if he quit or they quit, but I knew this relationship would be ending, because as far as the Proudfoots were concerned, this was, in my opinion, allegedly just about them trying to control the narrative at the 1-year anniversary.
And then doubles back after.
And this is nothing against Steve. Steve, if you want to come back and investigate this case, we welcome you. We welcome you. We want to have every private investigator, anybody who wants to help out, Dog the Bounty Hunter, any PI Heather, PI Chloe, any PI that wants to come in and help find this missing child. We want you.
It's clear.
Fisher says he's working to learn if that person wearing dark clothing in the video is accounted for in the investigation.
It actually gives us more rejuvenated hope that we may actually be onto something. We just have to run it down.
Over the last 12.
And I'm just wondering if that really is true, that they had some kind of hope, and that, didn't they know that this video was not real? I mean, isn't this what was being described on Lore Lodge a month before the video got released? Didn't they ask the press somebody asked the press to hold it? So if you really thought it was real, you certainly wouldn't be asking the press to hold it. So this is another big red flag to me. Let me know what you think. But the other thing I'm noticing from Chris and Katie a year ago and Chris and Katie today is I don't see like a lot of comforting or even like any kind of physical contact between the two of them at all.
Months, emergency responders and volunteers spent hundreds of hours searching for the missing teen. Drone mapping, ground searches, scent dogs, and the scouring of surveillance video.
Why do you think Sebastian is still missing?
That's tough to say. I mean, it was the largest manhunt in Tennessee history for a child. And absolutely zero evidence. There's nothing out there. Law enforcement's working diligently. They are working hard over and over and over.
What do you want to say to anyone out there who wants to say that one of you could have some?
So one of the things that's notable to me on this interview that's different from a year ago is a year ago we saw the hand massaging and the physical contact. We're not seeing any of that in this interview. I mean, they are both with their own hands like gripped in, just looking like they're trying to get through it. I'm curious what you guys think about that, if you have a different take on it. And if you want to come up and talk to me, this is the link. I will help you turn off your camera if you need help. You just hit the camera. It says stop cam, and you just hit stop cam just like this. And you can turn your camera off and you will just show up without it. But you can also tell me what your red flags are in the comment section below. What are your red flags, you guys? That is what we are talking about today. Danica thinks SF is a PR guy and does not like him. Veronica says he was starting to become too obvious about what he was trying to do. Las Vegas says, I am, and went on to adopt 2 girls from foster care. Oh, that's so nice. Allison said, red flag, the dogs may have alerted on Sebastian's medication that was dumped in the retention pond, according to the statement analyst. Oh, very interesting. Veronica said, I know you used to like him, Jessica. I wanted to wait and see if you figured this out before I said I did, because I saw him. Let me move myself up by blocking my own face here. I saw him on the missing case of Riley's Strain's missing case. And, he interviewed the college guys, and I just, when Riley Strain disappeared, but, so I did really have like a good feeling about him, and I still want to give him the benefit of the doubt, because we don't know what was going on behind the scenes. We don't know who released the video, but I do think that this video that was released, the one we just watched, was shown on Lore Lodge, or talked about, described, not shown, described on Lore Lodge by Steve. And then he seemed to be caught off guard when the video came out. And I, remarked to you guys at the time, I think I, just kept saying who, because I just couldn't believe, like, what ethical journalist would withhold a video of a missing special needs child, none of them would, and hold it to come out with this interview. So, yeah, I don't know, but I still think if he wanted to come in and help, I would, I think I'm welcoming all hands on deck. And I don't want to impugn his integrity because I don't know what happened. I know everybody has, please give this a thumbs up. I know everybody has their suspicions, and I'm not here to tell you guys how to feel about that. I don't do that on this channel. This is a critical thinkers channel where people make up their own mind. So you are definitely entitled to your opinion. I'm just saying that I guess I did have I had also seen him on the Kylie Rodney case for a little bit too. But yeah, let's watch this because I think their demeanor is really interesting compared to, how we saw them before. And I do think that Katie Proudfoot holds the key to what happened to Sebastian because she was the last person to see Sebastian. So whether, she said she claims she doesn't know why he walked out that door. And, my question is, if you don't know what happened to him, how do you know he walked out the door? And if you did see your son walking out the door without his shoes on or without a coat on in February in Tennessee, and it's a special needs child, don't you have some obligation to make sure he gets back in and that he has his shoes and a coat? Why not call 911 then? If he wouldn't come back into the house, that would have been the time to call for help. So it does make me wonder. And that is a red flag for me, that she claims she doesn't know why he walked out that door. I don't know what that door is. I don't know if that's the front door, the back door, but I'm not buying that she doesn't know why. And I'm, a lot of people just don't think that he walked out on his own, a lot of people think he had help. Now, that's a red flag to me. The fact that these two didn't get on camera for days after he disappeared. The fact that Chris Proudfoot reportedly told some of the media to get off his lawn is weird. You'd be running out there with your child's picture if the media came on your lawn, if you were frantic to find him. And there's only, there's 3 parents and Chris is not the biological father of this child. And, he referred to Sebastian in the first interview that he did with Duchess as that young, the young man. It wasn't his son back then. Now it's his son. But I have a problem with that. I have a problem with that. I'm not convinced that he really views Sebastian as his son. I already think we know what and who Chris Proudfoot is, but I think it is Katie that ultimately holds the key. But their body language toward each other is what interests me in this interview. They're not comforting each other. Their hands are clenched tightly on their laps. And let me know what you think.
Something to do with Sebastian's disappearance.
I would say to pause and to think, and I would say to consider the sources of information. Try to make sure that you're getting legitimate information. Avoid the rumors.
Katie and Chris say.
So to me, it's ironic that they're talking about legitimate reasons. Now they are holding hands here. Okay, so I see them holding hands. They're, legitimate information. When they put out that video, that was put out from their camp. They put that out. And so, talk about legitimate information. And then law enforcement had to come out and debunk it. Again, wasting law enforcement's time. And I'm just wondering, like, at what point, we're going to see any movement, and what kind of parents don't want videos of their kid to be found? I'm sorry, what parent doesn't want big billboards of their kid to go up and poo-poos the reward that other people are offering? They're not paying any of it. So what do they care how much it is? If it's $50,000 or it's $400,000, the FBI is offering $50,000. What parent wouldn't be all over that? Like, oh, thank you. I'm so grateful. Nope, not these two. Oh, thank you for paying for these billboards and putting them up. Nope, they're just complaining about the billboards. It's really, really sad. Kathy says, Las Vegas, so happy for you. Try and pay it forward to other children. You will provide hope for them. Passion Flower says that Chris Proudfoot reacts to the billboards that he just went crazy. It was weird. Like what? Why? What I just don't think Chris Proudfoot ever viewed Sebastian Rogers, in my opinion, as his son. He calls him his son now, but I just think that takes some nerve, considering that CPS had to be called out to the house because Sebastian, told his teachers that Chris Proudfoot was using a belt on him. And then Katie was there ready to lie for Chris. Kim said the Proudfoots want to deflect to separate from themselves. Yeah, I think so too. What are your big red flags, guys? Put a red flag up or just put the words red flag in your comments so I know that you guys are talking about red flags. Babs says, I don't understand why the FBI isn't deeply involved. They are more involved. They weren't right out of the gate, but they are now, and they put up a $50,000 reward. So, hopefully this will help. Nicey Marie says, nope, I hope to distract from the flashlight video, in my opinion. Yeah, I think so too. I think the flashlight video, I think that is the best evidence that we know about so far. And I think that these red flags are also just as interesting. So let me grab this. Let's look at some of the comments that subscribers have made, because I think this is really interesting too. So this is off the video I put out last week. So this is, I've clicked over, I've just made it for subscribers. So please make sure you're subscribed so I can share your comments in the future. But very, very weird. They have been weird this whole time. Not saying they're guilty, but it's weird. That's from Betsy. Jed Sono says, if you thought he ran away, then he might think he's in trouble because of all the people and police involved. It's not unrealistic. I think the whole thing is sketchy. But if he ran away, being in trouble would cross a child's mind. Heather said, when a reporter asks, are there any weird tendencies that he has that might help people find him in this search? Yeah. Karina said, chip away, chip away, chip away. Yes, that's what it is. Without God, she would have chipped away at me until I was dead. She won every time. She is not an us anymore. I'm still viewed as a failure. Because we talked a lot about the scapegoating dynamic that I think was at play in the house. So that's what they're talking in relation to. The black sheep, despite my accomplishments and so many startovers without finding a decent man or any other supportive people, just on my faith. Still, I wish I could help find him. I wish I was law enforcement. What a beautiful thing to share. And then First Med Tech said, it seemed like it was just the last meal for purposes of documenting the outing. He's talking about the Texas Roadhouse here, or she is. And then Valerie said, I've always thought in the beginning of February that CPS would not allow Chris Proudfoot around Sebastian anymore. And that's why Chris Proudfoot had not been home since the beginning of February. And then Brandy says, he has said February 5th for over a year now. So recently it's February 2nd. In my opinion, I don't know. And His Eye says, does anyone else think it's weird that Katie Proudfoot says she hopes his face doesn't fall to the bottom of a feed? That is a weird statement. His face, she hopes his face doesn't fall to the bottom of a feed. What strange words to speak about your child. Yeah, I agree. That is weird. Let's continue on, guys.
They're determined to bring their son home and want the community to stay focused.
I want to ask everyone not to forget, and I want to encourage people to keep helping and to keep bringing awareness.
So just remember, she's saying she wants to help people not to forget. She wants to tell people not to forget. And she wants to encourage all of us, because we're people, right, to continue bringing awareness. But when people put up a billboard, when people chip in on to put a billboard up of Sebastian and Summer, oh no, that's not okay because it has a provocative title. Well, to get attention on a highway, do we want just people to look at the billboard for a second? we want to grab something, to some type of headline to grab their attention. So putting a provocative title on it is a good way to do that. It's to get people thinking and to get them to stare at that billboard to figure out what the writer is saying, and look at Sebastian's face and Summer Wells' face a couple seconds longer. But this is her saying this is what they want. And their actions don't match their words, in my opinion. They don't really want people to help, because if they did, they would be welcoming the billboards, even if they don't like the provocative words that are on them. And there's nothing, I don't know. I guess you would still want the help. You would still welcome the help. But nope. So just watching this and then think about their actions. The actions don't match the words.
Not only to our son, but to all of the missing children, because they all deserve to go home.
And if Sebastian's out there listening, I asked Katie what she'd want to say to him.
I would say that know that we all love you, and that there are so many people that care and so many people that are looking, and hang in there and know that we're going to find you, know that we're going to bring you home.
Investigating agencies.
Know that we're going to bring you home.
So this is a couple of other comments that have been left. I have it set to subscribers. So Karen says, great live after watching this for the third time. In my opinion, Peter is right. Katie Proudfoot definitely knows what she's done with Sebastian. Rest in peace, Peter. Love that. No drama. And she put up green hearts for Sebastian, because Sebastian's favorite color is green. Keep in Faith says prayers for Sebastian. Lots of great green hearts. Thank you so much for the $4. Super thanks. Keep in Faith. Dorothy says, I can't believe nothing Chris Proudfoot and Katie Proudfoot say, in my opinion. Dorothy thinks he was carried out the back door. Michelle says, after seeing the people on 4 or 5 different channels surrounding more than auditioning for Jerry Springer, nobody mentions the child. It's so off-putting. If these adults were around him, so sure, I would have just left too. Yeah, Chris Proudfoot has a lot of time to sit on YouTube panels, kind of like Don Wells Don Wells does. Babs says, Edgar and KK kids don't disappear, but what did you do? Where is he, Chris Proudfoot? And Edgar and KK is like nicknames that people have used because, they're suing people right and left. Jesse said, what's up, reporter room? Thanks for continuing to put Sebastian's name out there. This boy has got to be found. So I do think it's helpful to see, your comments. And I want to put this, let me grab this video file back up. I'm going to put Sebastian up, and I'm going to put Summer, because Summer's now on this, but I do think it's interesting to see just how they talked about this case, and how, just how disingenuous they are. They're saying that they want all this help. They welcome all this help. Please don't forget him. Please do this. Please do that. And then people donate to put these billboards up. A lot of you guys have donated that. And instead of saying thank you, they're complaining about the writing on the billboard, because, come on. It's just too much. Thank you, Njez, for gifting another reporter room membership. Let me know if you got that, and tell Njez. Yeah, Kylie Rodney case. So I want to know what your red flags are, and I'll tell you some more of mine. And then I have Summer Wells' picture up too, because her face is on that billboard now too. And I do think these, So another red flag was that, not a single dog picked up Sebastian's scent, and despite him supposedly going outside in February in the winter without shoes on. And then number 4, Sebastian wasn't picked up by a single CCTV camera or doorbell camera. And we know law enforcement dumped everything and he didn't appear on anything. That's huge. And number 5 is probably my biggest one. I don't know. I might be tied, but Katie left their Hendersonville home to accompany my husband after law enforcement told her to stay home and not search in case Sebastian came back. And as soon as she thought that people weren't looking, she went out and left. She left the house. I don't think a mother could be dragged out of that house if she believed that child might come home. And it just makes me wonder if she knew he wasn't coming back. What was said if he did walk out that door? If he did, I'm not saying he did or he didn't, but if he did, if we want to believe Katie and we want to say, okay, well, he did walk out the door, then what was said that drove him out the door without bare feet? And then how much responsibility does Katie have if she said, I don't know why he walked out that door, and she watched him walk out with no shoes on, no coat, and it's a special needs child? Don't you have a obligation as a parent to go and get that child and bring him back in? And if you can't do it yourself physically because he's bigger, to call someone to help you, like law enforcement? Would you just let a child go out into the cold in February in Tennessee without shoes on? I don't think so. So I think the fact that she left the house in Hendersonville and left the state to accompany Chris Proudfoot is a huge red flag. Number 6 is the CPS visits and open cases for Chris Proudfoot in both New Mexico and Tennessee. New Mexico, we know those are probably related to how he treated Nina Gomez's children. We heard about how he treated his stepchildren that he had with her. So there's, and we know there was open CPS cases with Sebastian related to Chris Proudfoot in Tennessee. He admitted it on Smiley's story. So why are you putting your hands on this child who needs a handicap sticker to park at the Roadhouse, Texas Roadhouse restaurant parking space? When I saw that parking sticker, my heart just dropped because it just reminded me how fragile this child was, that he did have a chromosomal deletion syndrome, that he did have, water on the brain, and that nobody should be putting their hands on him, let alone with a belt, in my opinion. Number 7 is the fact that both Katie and Chris Proudfoot lied to all of us. They lied to Nancy Grace. They lied on Nancy Grace. They lied on national TV, claiming that CPS visits occurred several years ago. Katie also was willing to lie for Chris Proudfoot there, which makes me wonder how much Katie was actually lying for Chris Proudfoot. When CPS came, did she advocate for Sebastian, or did she lie for Chris Proudfoot? Allegedly, in my opinion. Want to hear what you guys think. Let me see where we're at. And you guys can talk to me. Let me just post the link if you want to. This is the link if you want to come up and tell me in person what your red flags are, or you can post them in chat. Hope you can hear me now, because I've been talking for a while. Okay. Hi, Orange Wedge. Jewel said many red flags are lack of emotion, real emotion from mother and stepfather. Yeah, and the emotion that we have seen from like Chris Proudfoot has been angry for the most part, right? He got on to Web Sleuths Live and just went after Trisha, even though she was, as nice could be. All she's trying to do is find out what happened to Sebastian. We saw he talked to Proudfoot Heather in that recorded audio call. So yeah, very, very sad. Mike says, thank you for joining us. Happy Easter, happy Passover. Yes, thank you. I'm glad you're here. Reach for the sky, welcome. Nicey Marie says, my red flags are Katie Proudfoot and Chris Proudfoot, in my opinion. Annette said, not looking directly into camera and speaking to Sebastian or the public for his safe return, in my opinion. Yeah, they had to be prompted every time to do that, right? They weren't like looking in of their own accord and just saying, Sebastian, I know you're out there. if you can hear me, I just want to let you know that we're looking for you, that we love you, that we want you to come home. You know, something like that would have been great. Here we have somebody coming up. Let me add it. Hi, Carrie.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Okay. What I was thinking about is I go back to the beginning, with both of them, with Summer and with Sebastian, and I think, in my opinion, the way it is, and with what I hear, that whenever Chris called Seth, and he's told him, "Don't be mad." That let us all know that Seth was innocent, or why would he have told him not to be mad?
Oh, wow. Yeah, great catch. I didn't even have that on my list. Good job, Carrie. You're
Okay.
right. Back to the beginning to just think about the fact that he told them not to be. That was such a weird way to preface it, right? Don't be mad. Your son is missing.
Yeah. And, that lets us know that Seth didn't do it, or Chris would not have ever said that to him.
Yeah, that's a
So,
great point.
yet they want to point their finger at him now.
Yeah. And
And
he's the one with the best alibi.
exactly. And then you go on where he hops on all these other channels, and, he talks, and he talks a lot. And another thing that got me was whenever he said that the best thing about Sebastian going missing, now the best thing,
Oh, good.
but, and then he also had said that it would be a case that would be studied, that it was like Houdini, and that it would be a case studied by in history books. It would go down in history for years and years to come.
And it kind of tethers into that, or connects into that, the emotional roller coaster comment that Peter Hyatt and Steve Johnson were talking about, the statement analyst, where Chris Proudfoot was characterizing this, 11 days after Sebastian disappears, as a never-ending roller coaster of hopelessness, wondering why he would have felt it was hopeless
Right.
after, not even a week and a day, or a week and a few days. It's suddenly a never-ending roller
Right.
coaster.
And it's because he won't let it be. He wants to keep the center of attention, in my opinion. He wants the center of attention. He likes this attention he's getting for whatever reason. And I think that they're guilty. I think that whenever he was on, I think he was doing an interview, and they talked about, and I would love to find it because I know I heard it. Um, he wasn't supposed to be home when Sebastian went missing, but they were asking him, what clothes Sebastian had on, and he said, whenever he went to bed, he was wearing pajamas. When we went to bed. So
Oh,
why would he word it we? We woke up, he was gone, and he said we.
oh, wow. Yeah,
He sure did.
if you find that, DM me on Twitter, and I'll definitely.
I will find it because I've got notebooks on top of notebooks, and recordings on top of recordings, and screen recordings, you name it, on this case. It's heartbreaking.
And I want to say that everything Carrie and I are sharing is our opinion. We're just sharing our opinions. We're not saying the Proudfoots did anything to him. Carrie's sharing her opinion. I'm sharing
Right.
my opinion.
It's in my opinion, exactly. I'm, saying what I think, and what I have heard, and with my own ears, and that anybody that wants to go back through it, be it LE, FBI, TBI, whatever, they need to do it with, a fine tooth comb, and they will find probable cause. They
Do you
might
think
not.
that
Yeah.
they should have done more, like the TBI with Summer Wells too? We still have never seen the body camera footage, or any of the night. We've never heard the 911 call. We've heard the dispatch call on the Summer Wells case. I don't know if you're familiar with that one, but
I
we've
am.
never Do you think like, some of this should start to maybe be released to the public, or do you think there is something going on behind the scenes where they are trying to build a case and they just, don't have all the pieces? What do you think?
In my opinion, I think that as far as Sebastian's case with Sumner County, I think that Katie, in my opinion, was allegedly having a rendezvous, whatever, with her neighbor, who is Ellie, and they're going to cover their butts, and so that's why the Ellie is, because he was also the first one on the scene. The first cop on the scene was their neighbor, where the flashlight videos are coming from, who Katie was supposed to be allegedly having an affair with. So, one and one makes two. It just adds up. I think that, there's some kind of leverage there, that they're afraid if they do this or that, then it's going to be bad news that can be brought upon the Sumner County Sheriff Station, in my opinion. Now, I don't know, but, from what I've heard and what I've listened to, and by, just by how Craddock described what Sebastian went through as a child as snuggle trouble, tells me something ain't right. That, no authority, no person of authority would ever word, I know I can't say that on YouTube, but essay, or any type, as snuggle trouble.
Yeah.
And with Summer Wells, I think, in my opinion, I don't think she made it from the swimming hole. I don't think she made it from the swimming hole. I've got a couple theories on that one, so those are all in my opinion. One, either she did not make it from the swimming hole, and I do believe that little Hunter, which he's an adult now, but he had a what they call a mental breakdown and went into a hospital or what have you. I think it's because he was trying to deal with what he helped cover up. And I think, yes, well, I think now that he's of age, that they need to do a Reed interrogation on him. It wouldn't hurt if they would do a Reed interrogation on all of these people.
I agree. See where the stories are at now. Thank you so much, Carrie. I really, really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. I just thought I would, share that. There's more, but
really, go ahead.
No, you're okay. You got other people that needs up there. I just wanted to bring, out. I just wanted to bring to light a lot of the things that people passed up or what have you. Like, and Katie, on that interview we were watching, how she used the word bulldoze. I bulldozed my son with hugs. Why would she use the word bulldoze? Unless in her head, construction site or whatever, it just didn't make sense to me that she used that word. I mean, I've never heard it worded that way, and I'm a country girl. And I thought, why would she say that? And then she only said his actual name one time. The rest of the time, it was my son. And if it was one of my youngins, hell or high water wouldn't stop me.
Yeah.
So, but it was nice speaking with you, and I love being in here. I love your passion.
Thank you so much for coming up and talking to me. I really appreciate your telling me what your red flags are. I really, really appreciate it. It's so helpful to have
plenty.
other people's perspectives. Yeah, please. And you can always DM me on Twitter at Davies Writer, and I have it scrolling below too. So if you want to. Yeah, thank you so much, Carrie. Really appreciate your joining me. Does anybody else want to come up and talk?
Thank you. All right. I'll talk to anybody if they have questions for me. I don't mind.
Does anybody have any questions for Carrie? or for me? This is the link. I just dropped it in there. Your link to talk to me. Susan says you're really smart.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Susan.
And Orange says, is that a regional thing, billboards versus bulletin boards? Well, bulletin boards are like something you'd put up in a classroom. That's my understanding. And then billboards are like a sign you put up on the road. I don't know if that's a regional thing, but that's my understanding of it.
It's just the way we say things. It's the way we word it, like a buggy and a cart. We call them buggies.
Bug. Do you say bulletin board or billboard?
I call it bulletin board.
Oh, okay.
You
So
know,
yeah, there's
it's the
your
same
answer.
thing.
It must be a regional thing. So that's really interesting. Jewel
Yeah.
said, like Sebastian, I don't believe Summer ever walked out of her house either.
I don't think I've also thought about the steps. When I was watching, I can't remember his name, but he was interviewing Candace and how they went behind what appeared to be a counter or something, and they went down. It was steep like a ladder. I thought,
Oh.
could she have fallen down that, or them boys? You know, kids will be kids. Pushed her down that. You know, because she fell. It could have been an accident, and they tried to cover it up. But I think Don Wells is just too, in my opinion. I think he had everything to do with that one.
He sure did have a lot of time to sit on panels and talk about it.
Right. Well, I don't understand was when Jose was living with them and knew that he was taking the showers, that Dawn was taking showers with Summer.
Yeah, that was weird, right?
Right. And I don't understand how the social services on either one of these cases let these children remain in the home, period.
And don't you think it would be helpful, Carrie, that instead of closing the cases out when the children go missing, that a more detailed, more in-depth investigation would take place?
Yes, it would be, because a kid is not going to sit and tell any social worker that they're afraid of this or that, because whenever social workers comes to the home, what do most bad parents, I hate to say this, but they put in their heads, they'll take you away, you'll never get to see us again, yada, yada, yada. They put dread in the kids' heads, because the social workers, if you're not home, they leave a note that they'll be back. And that gives you time to prepare your kids that they're going to come out, because Candace said she knew they was coming out. And I think it gave her time to scare for a little Summer into telling them exactly what they wanted her to tell the social services.
Yeah.
And then same thing with Sebastian. I think that whenever Chris answered the door with the social worker, I think that he just knew by Chris's look that he had better change his story. But I think they need to change it a little bit. I think that the kids should be able to be questioned privately, and they don't have that in these counties.
Wow. That's
So,
interesting. I didn't
yeah,
know
it
that.
is. It's you can't question the kids without your parents there, unless your parents give them permission to do it, and that's how they do it.
I'm adding Pepper in. Mike says he doesn't think Summer made it from home from the swimming hole. Hi, Pepper.
Hey, how are you guys?
Oh, hi, Pepper.
Happy Easter.
Can you turn
What do you
talk
mean?
into your mic a little bit more?
Let's see. Is that better? Is that better?
Yeah, that's better. Now I can.
Okay.
You sounded like you were like almost Charlie Brown underwater a little bit.
No,
And
I'm sorry. I have new headphones too.
Susan agrees. She thinks the bulldozer connects to something. What is your red flags, Pepper?
Mine started from the beginning as well. I don't remember if it was the interview, the very first interview they did on TV, or with I think it was Six and Familia. Um, but they, Chris had stated something about people, if they were gonna, if he was gonna, take Sebastian and get rid of him, they were doing construction all over the place. That he, very easily could look at a pile of concrete. I can find it and I'll send it to you. Actually, it was Bullhorn
Oh,
Betty.
I know what you're talking about. He said
Yeah,
something
he
about
said
how you would do
there's
it,
there's
right?
an right. Yeah, he's like there's enough people building houses right here that there's tons of concrete. You would never find them in a driveway, someone's driveway. And he was like, I don't think I'm. Oh yeah, what it was is someone had told him that was questioning him about the construction site, and then mentioning the fact that people in the housing development, that he had access to materials, and he wanted to like be smart about it, and that was the comment that he said, and I have held on to that just like since day one. Since day one, I I, I think that Chris tells on himself a lot on purpose. I think he does it because he thinks that the rest of the world's dumber than he is. And I think this is all in my opinion, but I really think that if we could take a deep dive into Chris's his psycho, you know what I'm saying, his
Yeah.
psyche, like, then I think we'd probably find out a lot more than what we all could bargain for. In my opinion, I think that Chris is probably the one that did more than anything. And maybe Katie is being the way Katie's being out of fear that if she don't, then she's going to have blowback too. Who pressure washes an autistic child in the front yard because he wets the bed? And like 4 sets of neighbors have seen this. And there's proof of that. And Betty has proved that with a lot of her videos that she got and interviews that she had with neighbors and stuff. And it's I can't say it without like it's hard to not cry. Um, I won't ever
That's
forget.
nice. Somebody's got their radio on in the background. If there's any way to turn that down, that would
Yes, I'm
it's coming
sorry.
through a little bit. I'm not
Okay,
sure who it
can you
is.
turn it down, sir? Can you turn it down a little bit? It's coming through on my. It's coming through on my headphones.
And while
I'm
they do that, I
sorry.
just do want to say thank you to our producers, Njaz, Sasha Angel, George Brown, and Pepper. We're not done. I just do want to say a thank you to channel members, Kami, Autumn, all of you guys. Thank you so much for supporting the channel and allowing me to cover this case. I really, really appreciate each and every one of you. If you would like to have your name appear just like this, just hit the join button. It's next to the subscribe button, but subscribing is free and it helps me out a lot. And I do like to share subscriber comments on some of the live streams, so it helps with that too, of just knowing each other. So thank you so much to all of our channel members. Really, really appreciate you guys. And I do want to also do a special thank you to super thanks and coffee gratitude. Thank you so much to all of you guys. My headphones broke last week, and this is why we have so many super thanks. I did order new headphones, so I'm really grateful. And thank you, Njaz, for gifting channel membership. She gifted, I think, 7 or 8 channel memberships today between the 2 live stream we've done. So thank you so much for that. So let's let me put. So the other red flag that really bothers me was that Nancy Grace interview. And Carrie, I'm curious what you thought when you saw them on the Nancy Grace show, and then Pepper, will go to you next. Like, what did you think when Katie said that had been years ago? And then we found out, oh, thank you so much, Brother Mike, for the $1.99 super sticker. That is so nice of you. Thank you, Brother Mike. Really, really appreciate it.
I feel like you could read the room when they were on the Nancy Grace show. That was the worst I've seen them actually do in an interview, and they had already did the interview with Duchess prior to that. So there were changes a little bit here and there, and they never even acknowledged. I never even seen a bit of grief of them, either one grieving or showing any mourning. That got me. And Chris trying to argue over the he actually tried to lie over the lie detector test.
Yeah.
He
He
actually
he
did lie.
really
He
just
blatantly lied about it.
yeah, and he act like he would come back and take one, blah blah blah, and then he actually was talking on another channel about how to take one of them tests and passed it.
And he never
Really?
showed up for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
He
Not
said and literally told how to pass that test, and I'm like, he probably does know because they were in the military, and
they were in the Navy.
I mean, my husband was a Marine, and so I think that, and my dad was in the Army, and I can't help it to say they're a disgrace to the military.
Oh
In
yeah,
my
I come from a
opinion.
long
In my
military
opinion.
family. I come from a long line military family, and I'm a Virginia girl as well, okay.
And then
Well, guys,
Virginia.
I'm gonna
thank you so much for sharing that, Carrie. I want to thank NJazz and Brother Mike and Carrie and VA and Pepper for all taking time to join me in the top chat, coming to talk to me up here on camera or off camera, but you know what I mean, on the big screen. It was really nice to have an opportunity to connect with you guys, and I think we're going to leave it there. So if you haven't subscribed to Reporter Room, please do. It's free and it helps me out a lot. Like, share, and leave a comment. And I look forward to seeing you next time. And again, a huge thank you to NJazz, Brother Mike, Carrie in VA, and Pepper for coming up and talking to me today. It was really great to have you guys on the show and to hear your different perspectives. It was so helpful. I do want to wish everybody a happy Easter. I hope the Easter Bunny brings you everything. Yeah, thank you so much for being here. Mike's going to make a list next time. Thank you so much for being here tonight, and wishing you guys all a happy Passover if you celebrate Passover, a happy Easter if you celebrate Easter. And I hope the Easter Bunny is really, really good to you guys. Pickle Toes says, hello, everyone. I'm new here. Happy Easter to everyone from Georgia. Love it. Love your handle. Thank you, Carrie. So, yeah, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Las Vegas girl. And Las Vegas girl said, I would really like to talk about Summer's case one day. Well, you know what? I did a bunch of videos on Summer Wells, and I just kind of pulled back on that case because really what I was ending up having to cover was just the parents. It was just drama. There wasn't new leads, there wasn't actual information, and it was just more drama, like a drama fest, and I didn't want the channel to get engulfed in that. And I do think it's worth it to revisit it, especially being that these billboards, or if you call them bulletins, are going up with Summer and Sebastian's faces on them. I think it would be really helpful to go ahead and revisit that again. You too, Tammy. Danica says the recently released recorded phone call with the PI and the Proudfoots was a red flag. Chris Proudfoot was angry and trying to set the narrative and find out what Seth knew. No emotion from Chris Proudfoot or Katie Proudfoot as usual. Wow, very, very interesting. Billboards. Christine said that she hopes you feel better. Oh no, I didn't know you were sick, Mike. I hope you feel better, Mike. Really, really do. Thank you to our mods, are us. Yes, if you modded today coming into the Easter break, thank you so much. And thank you to our head mods, NJazz and Brother Mike and Six Sense Amelia. Thank you so much. And to all of you guys who modded. Pepper was modding today all day. Thank you so much, Pepper. And I think, did I miss any of the mods? I think I got everybody. Gosh, if you modded and I missed you, I'm so, so sorry. And Babs, thank you so much for being here today too. Kaz thinks that Chris Proudfoot is a walking red flag. Oh, wow. Very, very interesting. All right, guys. Well, I will see you on the next time. Thank you so much for coming by to spend a little bit of time with me. Please keep Sebastian and precious Summer Wells in your heart and your prayers over the Easter day tomorrow. It is a holy day, so I won't be live streaming tomorrow, but I will be scheduling another live stream on this case in the next couple of days. So please be on the lookout for that. So I will see you on the next one. Thank you so much.